going on YouTube? Hey, I just want to make a video today. It's another one of these kind of dad advice type videos, and there was a little incident last night with some of my kids, and I'm not going to talk about that at all. I just kind of want to talk about what I told them, and seemed to kind of make things better. Life is hard, and it's hard for everybody. whether you're rich or not, whether you seem to have everything together or you don't, it's hard for everybody. You have in your head that everybody else has everything figured out except for you, and you're the weird one that can't seem to get their shit straight. And let me tell you, that's not the case at all. Everybody is in the same boat. Don't think that you are the only one out there that can't get things figured out. We're all in the same boat. The people that you think just have their life locked down, everything's great, I guarantee you they have just as many problems as you do. Rich folks, they just have different problems than we do, but they still have problems. So don't think that you're weird, or that you're just a screw up, and that you're the only one out there that can't get life figured out, because there is no figuring it out. You just deal with it as it comes for as long as you're here. Have as much fun as you possibly can, and quit sweating the little stuff. I've said it before, you will never be on your deathbed thinking about a car payment or a house payment that you made 20 years ago. So that's just a little advice, and there's a couple of lessons I want to talk about, and there's a couple of YouTubers out there. Well, one of them's not a YouTuber. He's a world famous motivational speaker, and the other one's a YouTuber that I'm really starting to get into. So I'm going to talk about these guys and just two of the lessons that I think helped my kids out last night, and hopefully it'll help you out a little bit too. So the first guy, the super world famous guy, who again is one of these people that you would imagine has their life completely figured out and on lockdown, and he portrays that in every video and every speech, and that's Tony Robbins. Now Tony Robbins, and believe me, I get that he's a multi-millionaire. He's probably pushing $1 billion. I don't know. But the thing is he busts his ass for that money, and he does help a lot of people. The things I personally take away from Tony Robbins are the little things, the small goals, the low-hanging fruit that you can pick and help your life just a little bit. As far as the big grandiose, you really apply yourself, and you can be rich and you can be successful and all that. I'm already successful. I've successfully raised 3 daughters, and now I've got grandkids, and everything's fine. Everything's good. I don't need anything else. That's the thing, is you just have to learn to be satisfied where you're at and understand that you're living right now. So all right, enough of that. The one lesson that I took out of a Tony Robbins video, and it wasn't how to get rich or anything else, it was how men and women, the difference in the way they communicate. And I think this probably helped my kids out more than anything. And when I say my kids, I'm talking about my son-in-law, because I consider my son-in-laws every bit as much my kids as my daughters. So I definitely didn't side with anybody, because I've been through all this. My wife and I had similar problems. So bottom line is, it's a miscommunication, and feelings get hurt and you get defensive. And so the thing that Tony taught, and he demonstrated this with his wife. I don't know how long they've been married, but so he asked his wife to give a what he called a Meadow Report about what she did that day. And I can see that it wasn't just a spontaneous thing. They had practiced this a little bit, but the message was still clear, and it was effective, and it was a little bit funny, but it wasn't some just spontaneous thing. But anyway, so his wife just starts rambling on about all this stuff. She went shopping, and bags, and the airport, and this and that, and the salesman, and the discounts, and all this stuff. And he called that a Meadow Report, because basically women have evolved to share a ton of information with people they trust. Now, if they don't have another female around to share that information with, guess who they're going to share it with? They're going to share it with their husbands, their loved ones, their partners, their significant others. And the thing that you have to understand is that when they're given that report, they're not necessarily asking you to jump up and respond. They're not asking you to go fix or kill anything. And that's the other half of this, is the male mind. We're wired that if somebody presents us with a problem, that we are going to go either fix the problem or kill something. That's what's in our head. So it gets frustrating when women are talking about all these things, and they're just talking to share the information, and men are wanting to react to this, but it's not required. It's not even expected of them. The women just want somebody to listen to them. And man, that took decades for my wife and I to figure out what was going on there. So, as the woman is rambling all this stuff off, the guy is thinking, man, I got to fix all this, or this is my fault because I haven't fixed it. And then somewhere in the middle there's just a miscommunication, and feelings get hurt on both sides. And it doesn't have to be that way. Just understand that if somebody is telling you a lot of information, or if they're telling you how they feel, it's because they trust you. If you feel like you have to respond to it, you should ask them, do you want me to do something about that? And then do the best you can with it, but don't have it in your head that you're the one that's ruining their life, because their life is not ruined. They're just sharing information from their day. And for the women, don't be surprised if your partner, your husband, or whoever gets their feelings hurt because you've told them all this stuff that is just ruining your life, but you don't want them to fix it. That automatically makes them think that you want somebody else to fix it. And so if you're just getting things off your chest and sharing it, say that. And just be upfront with, like, hey, I just want to tell you all the stuff that happened, and not asking you to fix it. And guys, that's your job. You're going to sit there and listen to it if you want a happy marriage. So sit there and take the report. And again, that's just one of the low-hanging fruit things. That's not some grandiose fix your whole life, get rich, be successful, run the world, Tony Robbins things. That's just a small little message that made things clearer for me, and hopefully it will you. You should go watch some of his videos. And like I said, I'm not into the corporate success or the money part of it, but there are some small life lessons and some small relationship deals. I don't necessarily want to watch him flying in a helicopter in his jet, or jumping in his $20,000 ice cold little pool that he jumps into and before speeches. I don't really care about all that, but he does have some good messages, some small things that I think will help most people, normal people anyway. And believe me, if you're having problems, you're normal. So the second guy is definitely not Tony Robbins. And this guy, just like the rest of us, has had a lot of problems in his life. And it's Joe off of the After Prison show. And what the After Prison show is this guy, he got convicted on some drug charges, and basically he just screwed up. He screwed up. He was young and he screwed up, and he ended up going to prison. I think he got locked up a few times. Then his last big stint was he got 7 years in prison. And his show started off, it was just pretty much prison stories and talking about prison food and prison life, and that's entertaining enough, and I was already hooked then. But now he's starting to reconnect with some of these people that he served time with, and you can see that these are real people, and most of them are real good people. They've just made some bad decisions, and probably haven't made any more bad decisions than the rest of us. They just unfortunately got caught. And God knows that if we were all caught for everything that we ever did, we would all be in prison. If I'm lying, let me know. I don't think I am. So Joe is now reconnecting with these old past cellmates of his and stuff, and it's pretty moving. It's pretty touching to watch this guy. He talked about this guy that was the most annoying cellmate he ever had, and then he goes back and reconnects with this guy, and they go out on this fishing boat, and it's real good to see how Joe's opinion changed. Like, he was really impressed and touched with this guy, and then he understood about why the guy always talked about the things he talked about. And so, I'm not going to describe the whole deal, because you should go watch After Prison show. It's a really good series. So the lesson there is that we all screw up. We all mess up. Whether you get caught or not, or whether you feel like your life is falling apart, you're no different than anybody else. You're not strange. You're not the weirdo. You're not the one screw up. We're all that way. All of us are. And that's kind of what I take away from the After Prison show is, these prisoners, and believe me, there are people that are locked up in prison that are just monsters, and I get that, but there's plenty of monsters walking around out here too that are not in prison. So it's just that you don't judge people by their mistakes, and don't judge yourself by your mistakes, and don't start feeling sorry for yourself. Get your ass up and do something. You only get to live once, and it's a short life. I don't care if you live to be 100. When you get to be 99 years old, you're going to think, man, where did all the time go? So you only get one ride on this thing. And if you're miserable, especially in this country, if you're walking around miserable and you just can't get it together, that's your fault. Go do something about it. If there's something that would make you happy in your life, go do it. What are you waiting for? Some magical day when it just all gets handed to you? It's not going to happen. If there's something that you want to do in this life, go do it. Make it happen. Give it your best shot. Even if it fails, at least you gave it your best shot. It's not about money. And if that's how you live your life, it's just about and for money, you're just going to be miserable. Even if you do get the money, even if you are rich, you will just want more. So, like I said, this is just one of these American OG-san dad speeches, and I don't mean to to sound like I'm talking down or that I'm any wiser than anybody else, because I'm not, and I definitely never talk down to anybody. I have the utmost respect for everybody as long as they have the utmost respect for me and for themselves. So I just know, me personally, that I went through a spell in my life where I felt like I was the screw up, like I was messing up not only my life, but my wife, her life, my kids. I felt like I was just failing everybody, and I never was. The only time I was failing them is when I would withdraw and get down in the dumps and just retreat back into myself. That's the only time I failed them. Your kids don't want, well, I say they don't want. Your kids aren't looking for you to be rich or to make them rich. They're just looking for a good dad, for a good mom. Brothers and sisters need to take care of each other. You know, family, you should always be able to fight with each other and get over it. There's a difference between saying what needs to be said and not letting things fester up than just petty fighting. And don't get drawn into the petty fighting. And if you get your feelings hurt, you should say you get your feelings hurt and talk about it. But so anyway, all right, I'm rambling now. Sorry about that. So go check out some Tony Robbins stuff, and believe me, I don't buy into the you can be a millionaire, you can run your own company and blah blah blah. But I do like a lot of his small lessons, the real relationship lessons and just life lessons. And Joe, his message is that everybody messes up and everybody deserves a second chance, and that don't judge people by their mistakes. That's the main message of the After Prison show, is everybody makes mistakes. More than likely that is a good person down underneath that. And remember, if you need anything, reach out to me. American Oji-san has got your back. I'm not smarter than anybody else. I'm not definitely not better looking than anybody else. But I am here to help. If you need something, let me know. Till the next video, I will see you later. Hey, one more thing before I go. I know this has been a long video, so I'll say this fast. I've been featured in a couple of DeviantArt pages. I really appreciate those guys, especially the ones over at the DeviantArt-Morgue. It's kind of a horror-based group on DeviantArt, so you know it's a little bit dark over there, but it can't all be sunshines and rainbows. But super proud to be featured in those. I'll put some links down at the end of this video, and just really happy, and I'm glad I found a place for my weird ass artwork to have a home. DeviantArt and my favorite group, the DeviantArt-Morgue. Check those guys out.